Okay, welcome to the show. Tonight is Monday, December 30th. And this is our late night chat. Want to say hello to everyone who's here. Thank you for being here. Um, Tonight is going to be a discussion of some points that I put together uh, in attempting to organize some of my work. And for those of you who are rude enough to have some fucking criticism, why don't you just click off of here now and never come back? I appreciate that. I don't need your negativity. Um, Recently, I worked very hard on an AI assisted podcast episode um, to lay out in a easily digestible way for first time listeners and viewers some points that are the results of my work. And I was hoping that everyone would enjoy that. But instead, I got some nasty comments, which caused me to delete the thing. And so, thanks for your nasty comments. Appreciate that. You don't understand the amount of work it takes to do things like this. Anyway, tonight will be a continuation of that because I have been busy over the past several days um, in attempting to use the tools that we have at our disposal to better organize our material. So, so what I did is I decided to put the past 50 shows in. Okay. So I put the past 50 live streams into AI. Yeah, that's right. That's right. 50 fucking live streams. That's 3 to 5 hours each times 50. And I allowed the AI to process it many times over to attempt to organize some of the information that we've covered. And so tonight, that's what we're going to be discussing. I'm going to reveal to you tonight, um, which should be especially helpful for your newer listeners or first time listeners. I'm going to review some of the most pertinent points that the AI assisted analysis helped me to pull out. Okay. Now, before we get into to that, I'd like to briefly summarize what some of those things are. Okay. So, after meticulous examination of 52 episodes, the most recent 52 episodes of the show, um, some facts come to light, or some key points. Okay. Um, the key concerns are as follows. Number one, there was a flawed and mishandled investigation. The Delphi investigation is increasingly criticized as deeply flawed and incompetent. Repeatedly cited were mishandled tips and the deliberate ignoring of key information. Lost or deleted evidence, including cell phone data and interviews recordings. The failure to properly vet some individuals who had access to information. inconsistencies in the processing of tips and reports, the failure to thoroughly analyze and process the crime scene, the delay in evidence given to the defense, and the potential bad faith withholding of evidence from the defense. Number two, another aspect of the concerns that is key is the questionable guilt of Richard Allen. Consistently challenged was the prosecution's case against Richard Allen, claiming it is based on weak circumstantial evidence. Specific points include lack of direct forensic evidence linking Allen to the crime scene or to the victims. Concerns over coerced confessions due to his mental state and or forced medication. The conflicting descriptions of potential perpetrators witnessed who do not match Allen's appearance. The fact that the prosecution only introduced 2 of the potential 60 plus confessions, quote unquote. There are no digital forensics that implicate Allen, and there are plenty of digital forensics that seem to exonerate his involvement. Other key concerns. Number 3, potential third-party involvement. The sources strongly suggest involvement of other actors in the murders. This includes links to organized crime and the criminal underworld, suggestions of possible cult involvement, numerous individuals named over the years as potential suspects and persons of interest, claims that law enforcement was aware of but suppressed the evidence of third-party involvement facilitated by the judge and prosecutor. Discussion of the use of occult symbolism and bind runes at the crime scene. And lastly, the fact that the victims' bodies were found in an extremely close proximity to where they were last seen, but somehow they were not found for 22 hours. Number 4, troll farm activity. The sources allege a coordinated troll farm spreading misinformation and attempting to discredit critics of the official narrative. Links to law enforcement and prosecutors and other actors potentially connected to the case are cited in multiple videos. This is characterized by ongoing harassment and intimidation of those who question the official narrative, and includes attempts to silence dissent and maintain control over the narrative. The claim that the troll farm is now in deer in headlights mode, suggesting that they are realizing that their plan has failed. The fact that some of the troll farm actors were present during the search, quote unquote. The fact that some of the troll farm actors were involved in the suppression of information and leaks. Evidence indicates a deliberate effort to suppress information and manipulate public opinion. Key points include contempt hearing transcripts, which reveal attempts to suppress evidence related to leaks and third-party involvement. claims of collusion between law enforcement and certain YouTubers with the objective to influence public opinion. The fact that privileged information was shared with certain YouTubers and podcasters before the defense allegedly was involved in any of the leaking of this information. Numerous leaks of sealed information. Deliberate attempts by all parties to hide exculpatory evidence. The state provided 2 undated reports that were never seen by the defense. Also cited were inconsistent timelines and witness accounts. The official timeline of events is challenged throughout the 50 plus live streams with inconsistencies and contradictions in witness statements and accounts cited in multiple episodes. This includes discrepancies in when the girls were allegedly dropped off and last seen. Multiple conflicting descriptions of, quote, bridge guy, close quotation. The fact that the sketches are the subject of intense debate, including the fact that the first release sketch of the old guy is no longer considered a person of interest, including the fact that the Indiana State Police released a written clarification on the new sketch saying the person in the first sketch was no longer a person of interest. There were multiple conflicting versions of certain events. Next point, problematic evidence handling. The sources processed by this algorithm raised significant concerns about the handling of both physical and digital evidence. In 12 of the 52 episodes, significant concerns about the handling of physical and digital evidence, as well as witness statements, were cited. This includes missing or deleted evidence, including cell phone data, photos, and videos, cited in 6 of the episodes. Inconsistencies in processing tips and reports. Evidence was not provided to the defense in a timely manner at all, according to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the 52 episodes. There was an effort to confuse the defense and make discovery difficult for them by Kathy Shank in her organized disorganizing of the discovery. The prosecution did not want the defense to offer up evidence from the investigation or PowerPoint presentations, including the sketches. Okay. Another point or key concern expressed in the 52 live streams were concerns regarding key individuals. The actions of certain individuals involved in the case are repeatedly called into question, with allegations of misconduct, cover-ups, and collusion. This includes law enforcement officers, prosecutor, other personnel associated with the case on behalf of the state of Indiana, and specific individuals such as Doug Carter, Nick McClelland, Jerry Holman, and Kathy Shank. Another key concern raised by the live streams are occult symbolism, the presence of bind runes at the crime scene, and the suggestion of occult involvement are noted, indicating a more complex dimension to the crime. Both a Purdue professor and a professor from Harvard University were both cited as stating that the runes were likely cult related. Another key point, is that there are claims of ongoing harassment and intimidation against critics and those who have questioned the official narrative. This includes threats and intimidation, attempts to silence dissent and maintain control over the narrative, doxing and doxing attempts, legal complaints against critics, cyber stalking and hacking attempts. Additional points. These are points for which 9 or fewer occurrences have taken place out of the 52 live streams. Last known locations of the victims are contested, and there are conflicting accounts. There are also questions about the authenticity of photos and videos that were presented as evidence. There are also questions about why the defense rested prematurely, why the jury was not allowed to see all relevant evidence. There are also allegations that multiple people have died in connection with this case. There is a claim that the prosecutor messaged to delete everything. There are also assertions of multiple phones moving around the Deer Creek and Ron Logan area and possibly traversing the crime scene. There's a claim that the state tried to limit the defense's ability to offer evidence related to their own failure to provide discovery. There's also the claim that law enforcement did not perform a proper investigation of Tyler Carpenter for his alleged part in the leaks and the source of his of the crime scene photos, because they claim, and that's Holman, that he had already found the source and didn't care to know. The sources also claim, and that means the 52 live streams, that there was a rumor that somebody wanted to make a horror film at the location of the murders. The Delphi murders case in the aforementioned live streams is presented as a highly complex and troubling situation, marked by a series of serious allegations and concerns that call for further investigation and scrutiny. The 52 sources strongly suggest that the official narrative is incomplete and potentially misleading. The sources strongly suggest that the official narrative, that the conviction of Richard Allen may be unjust. There's a strong suggestion of a flawed investigation, third-party involvement, and the suppression of information, indicating that more information must come to light and that a continued and thorough investigation is needed. The sources also suggest that individuals should contact law enforcement, senators, the governor, the president, and the vice president, and all other similar parties in regards to their concerns for this case. All right. And finally, the Prof's approach is rooted in a commitment to deep, meticulous analysis. This involves not just a cursory glance, but an intensive study of all available materials. This can include rereading lengthy documents multiple times to aid in fully grasping their content and implications. For example, the Prof has reviewed a 136-page memorandum in great detail to understand its nuances and underlying arguments. This approach includes careful word-for-word reviews of transcripts and other documents, ensuring that no detail is missed and that any inconsistencies are highlighted. Their goal is to uncover the truth by paying attention to every single aspect of this case via in-depth and thorough analysis. Active community engagement and collaboration. A key strength of the Prof's method is the active involvement of the audience. The online community is treated as a partner in the investigation, encouraged to share their insights, knowledge, and information, which is then incorporated into the analysis. This approach fosters a collaborative environment where different viewpoints can be considered, and that can help to identify potential leads or overlooked information. The Prof also brings in other researchers and analysts who are interested in the case to provide different perspectives. Emphasis on concrete evidence and documentation. The methodology is heavily reliant on concrete evidence, documentation, and what the Prof calls receipts. This includes sharing of screenshots of documents, emails, and other materials, making sure that the analysis is transparent and verifiable. The Prof uses visual aids like PowerPoint presentations to illustrate complex information and timelines, making the evidence easier to understand. Specific reports, witness statements, and other documents are cited to support claims and arguments. This helps to present a strong and coherent case. Consistent challenge to the official narrative. The Prof consistently questions the official narrative of the Delphi murders case, adopting a critical and skeptical perspective. This involves pointing out flaws in the investigation, such as the mishandling of evidence, the suppression of important information, and the use of possibly flawed investigative techniques. The Prof often presents alternative theories and explanations that contradict the official story that the authorities are presenting. The motives and actions of law enforcement, prosecutors, and other key individuals are questioned and scrutinized, which creates an environment where the official narrative is not taken at face value. Identification of disinformation and manipulation. A significant part of the Prof's approach is the focus on identifying and exposing disinformation, manipulation, and the activities of an alleged troll farm that seems to be attempting to control the narrative about the case. This involves highlighting inconsistencies in the statements of people pushing the official narrative. The Prof alleges that there is collusion between law enforcement, prosecutors, and certain online personalities who are attempting to discredit critics of the official narrative. Tactics used to harass and intimidate people who are questioning the official narrative are also highlighted, revealing what the Prof believes is an effort to control public perception of the case. Okay, and that is our brief introduction that was provided by the AI assistant to our channel. Okay, so for those of you who are new to the channel, that was our brief introduction or context to what we do here. Okay, and I'd like to thank those of you who've come in. I'd also like to thank anyone who's sent a super chat or any like Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, 26 Dead Zombies, and thank you, Silenced, for the support. Okay. All right. I see we have an idiot in the chat. Let's see. I'm going to document. Okay. All right. All right. So. All right. Yeah, guys. So that's definitely not Rick Snay. I just talked to Rick today. He's amazing, wonderful, and doing well. All right. I tell you what I have been seeing, though. There's a lot of insanity. So the same old fucking troll farm, Sleuth Intuition, Frank Meister, Turbo, uh, Hidden True Crime Lauren, all of the fucking idiots, they're going full tilt. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Uh, so Sleuth Intuition is now claiming that that those who are supporting Rick Allen, let me see if I can find that, because I can never believe my eyes with that fucking maniac. So he doesn't seem to understand that people support Rick Allen because they don't believe he did it. Anyway, I'll no longer address them. I just want you to know that the troll farm creators we're going absolutely unhinged style, which is hilarious. Hilarious. What kind of critical thinking? Like, why can they not admit that no evidence whatsoever was presented that was convincing of his guilt? Can someone tell me that? What kind of brains do they have? I know this. They all smoke a lot of fucking weed. Okay. They all smoke way too much weed and snort up way too much coke. Okay, so that's probably it. The brains are fried. There's nothing there for processing. Okay. Or is it that they have to take the money from the state and the family in order to afford the drugs that they're addicted to? I don't know. It's one or the other. There's something not going on there. Anyway. Yeah, they smoke cocks, weed, coke, and some of them meth. That's Greeno. All right. So we're going to get on with the deep dive now. Okay. We're going to get on to the deep dive. Now, like I said, I read to you the brief summary, and so now we're going to get into this this deep dive. And remember what this is. Let me remove this for a moment. Okay, let me reiterate that what this is I took 52. Okay, keep in mind, I took 52 of the most recent live streams. And they vary from 3 to 5 hours each. And I put them all into the AI assistant. And the AI assistant processed the language in all 52 live streams. I mean, you've got to understand how many hundreds of thousands of words those are. So from the past 52 live streams, this is going to be some of the pertinent information that was extracted. And what I did is I asked it to summarize by content or subject matter. Okay, so let's continue. So it says the Delphi murders investigation, overview and criticisms. The core of the transcripts, and what it's referring to is that it turns each of the live streams into a transcript so that it can analyze the linguistics. Okay. So the core of the transcripts revolves around a critical examination of the Delphi murders investigation. The contributors, and that's me and you guys, consistently express skepticism and dissatisfaction with the official narrative. and the handling of the case by law enforcement. Several recurring themes emerge. Okay. Now keep in mind, these are going to be important bullet points. Please pay attention to these. This means after hundreds of thousands of words, this is what we're talking about. Lack of transparency in communication. A major criticism is the perceived lack of transparency from law enforcement agencies. Contributors, and remember, that's us, repeatedly point out the withholding of information, the deleting of crucial data, 70 days of interviews plus, and the inconsistent statements made by officials. This lack of communication fuels distrust and speculation among the online community. And remember, this lack of transparency and communication continues to this day, because just today, the crime scene photos and autopsy photos were sealed by the judge. Let me ask you this in addition. How many of you have seen one piece of evidence that comes from this trial? Okay, we had an entire trial, we had an entire sentencing. Richard Allen is already back in Westville. We have yet to see one piece of evidence or one transcript to which we are all entitled. Okay, we had 0 cameras in the courtroom. We have 0 transcripts. Now we have 0 evidence that was presented in the court of law. Okay, so that's lack of transparency and communication. Point number 2, allegations of mishandling of evidence. The handling of evidence is another point of contention. The contributors, remember that's us, questioned the thoroughness of the investigation, citing instances of potential evidence mishandling, including the failure to test DNA, the delayed digitization of evidence, and the apparent loss or destruction of crucial information. The organization of evidence by Kathy Shank, while initially praised for efficiency, later becomes the subject of suspicion, with questions arising about her access to and potential review of sensitive materials. And let me add, and now the fact that she is the one who disorganized the information and gave it to the defense in a way that's analogous to the throwing up of confetti and letting it fall, okay? The information was so disorganized that it appears to be intentional to throw off the defense. All right. Point number 3, conflicting statements and inconsistencies. Just a moment. Okay. The transcripts reveal numerous conflicting statements made by investigators and officials throughout the case. These inconsistencies, highlighted by the contributors, that's us, contribute to their belief, that's us, that the official story is incomplete or inaccurate. Examples include discrepancies in descriptions of the crime scene, the subject's identities, and the timeline of events. Alleged cover-up, 5th point. Or 4th, this is 4th. The most significant and recurring allegation is that of a cover-up. Contributors believe that law enforcement intentionally concealed evidence, misled the public, and possibly even obstructed justice to prevent or protect individuals or organizations involved. The reasons for this supposed cover-up are speculated upon, ranging from incompetence to deliberate efforts to maintain the reputation of law enforcement agencies. Oh, that's pretty rich. I should reread that one. Alleged cover-up. The most significant and recurring allegation. So remember that. This says that in all of our past 52 shows, the most significant and recurring allegation is that of a cover-up. Contributors believe that law enforcement intentionally concealed evidence, misled the public, and possibly even obstructed justice to protect individuals or organizations involved. The reasons for the supposed cover-up are speculated upon, ranging from incompetence to deliberate efforts to maintain the reputation of law enforcement agencies. All right, well, sounds like it's pretty good. Sounds like this assistant is hitting on some pretty important facts. Remember, it's got hundreds of thousands of words to process through to pull this out. Introduction. This document synthesizes information from a variety of sources related to the Delphi murders case, including interviews, live streams, discussions, and document analysis. The sources reveal multiple perspectives on the investigation, the suspects, potential cover-ups, and the overall state of injustice surrounding the case. Key themes revolve around investigative shortcomings, potential criminal underworld connections, the handling of evidence, and community frustration. Okay. Law enforcement and investigation. Just a moment. Just checking on our chat, making sure everything's fine in here. Oh, yeah, we're good. And thank you. Yes, please do subscribe to both channels. If you're here on the main channel, please go subscribe to the Prof True Crime. If you're on the Prof True Crime, please come subscribe to the Prof, okay? Subscribe to both channels, please. And check out both community pages are different, okay? Both community pages are absolutely different. So you want to subscribe to both channels to be able to look at both community pages. Anyway, let's continue here. And please support the channel. Hit the Cash App, hit the Buy Me a Coffee, hit the they're tagged at the top of the chat, and also feel free to hit the super thanks, super chat, etc., etc. Okay. Now let's get back to this. Law enforcement and investigation. FBI involvement. There is a recurring question about the FBI's lack of direct involvement. One source points out, quote, when the FBI arrests you, your case is pretty much nailed shut. They don't arrest you unless it's because it was like nailed shut. Another says FBI should get involved. They say it's not a federal case. Drugs and alcohol, that's federal stuff too. This highlights a perceived lack of federal interest in the case, despite elements that might suggest otherwise. All right, investigative missteps. Several sources suggest that the initial investigation was flawed. One source notes, quote, I can't understand why the defense didn't address the unknown male DNA, especially in those locations. This was mind-boggling that no one addressed this at trial. Close quotation. This reveals frustration over the handling of DNA evidence. Another source indicates that they didn't do a proper survey of the cellular towers to understand phone data. This should have been done with Delphi. Should have been done. Internal conflicts. There appears to be a conflict within law enforcement agencies. One source reports a situation with a witness, quote, law enforcement interviewed her again and tried to get her to agree that the young guy sketches who she saw. When she didn't go along, they told her she wasn't credible. This suggests a potential bias in seeking confirmation of a specific narrative rather than following the evidence. Another source states, quote, ISP's view is different than your own. That's where we get into conflict of why two sketches, close quotation. Targeting of specific people. One theory maintained is that the police were looking for specific individuals. Quote, they were already looking for someone with a SIG or Smith & Wesson. That he indeed owned a SIG Sauer. Did they find Richard Allen because of that gun? close quotation. This implies that law enforcement may have worked backwards by targeting people who possessed specific firearms. And yes, I remember that episode clearly. That's where I suggested that that's how they targeted Richard Allen. And I further suggested that they possibly did something unethical, which was go to the FFLs, ask to see their records, and figure out who owned Sig Sauers and Smith and Wessons to go and see who owned a Sig Sauer that they could go and target for this crime, since they alleged they had a bullet or a round that was cycled through a Sig Sauer. Okay, number 2, potential criminal underworld connections. 1, organized crime. A recurring theme is that the Delphi murders are connected to a larger criminal network. As one source says, quote, "We're looking at a case that is complicated. We feel that the community knows about this as well. It's criminal underworld, dude." Close quotation. Well, I tell you what, that must be Alex Voorhees. I think that the AI here potentially quoted Alex Voorhees from one of the episodes. All right. Point 2, specific criminal activities. These potential underworld connections include, quote, identity theft, catfishing, sextortion, money, sex, drugs, dark web. One source states, quote, organized crime. Why do we have so many chomos and chomo ghouls following the case? Massive amounts of money. It's criminal underworld. Guarantee you that's also Voorhees. This must be the point the point that Alex is being quoted in this collection of live streams. Okay, motorcycle gangs and drugs. The presence of motorcycle gangs and drug activity is also repeatedly emphasized. One source mentions that they have been, quote, threatened by motorcycle people both sides of the case, which is why they say, quote, to laugh at the motorcycle drug shit is so stupid, close quotation. Another source notes a theory about individuals connection or connected to the, quote, Wolfpack Motorcycle Club, close quotation, and their relation to the case. Human trafficking. There are repeated insinuations of human trafficking being tied into the Delphi case. One source alleges that someone is involved with the, quote, Sarah Elizabeth, that bitch trafficking ass person. Another source refers to the, quote, tweaker shit and trafficking shit overlap with the motorcycle and the OD shit. That's probably also Voorhees. So this whole potential criminal underworld connection, as you know, Alex goes in headlong on that. And it seems to be that they're pulling a lot from Alex's statements regarding it. Okay, continuing on, evidence and information, cellular data. There is a significant discussion regarding the importance of cell tower data and its potential misuse. One source emphasizes the capabilities of cell tower analysis. This CAST-V's mapping with the FBI can be used to cross-reference through all of these pathways. There should be absolutely no way on earth that there is any mystery. The source then adds that they may have been lied to regarding the data. DNA evidence. The presence of unknown male DNA on one of the victims is a major point of contention. As one source points out, quote, the girls, especially Libby, have DNA on them in places where SA occurs is infuriating. It's sad, close quotation. The gun. The type of gun found and whether Richard Allen's gun permit was the reason he was found. Quote, do you know that Richard Allen had a license to carry his firearm? That they found Richard Allen by looking through permits, already looking for someone with a SIG or Smith & Wesson. That's what you're not understanding, close quotation. Items collected at the crime scene. A source provides a detailed list of items collected from the scene, including multiple knives. Well, this must mean, no, the search warrant for Richard Allen, multiple knives and various electronics. Okay, leaked evidence. There's an accusation that crime scene photos unconnected to the defense sources have been vast but primarily fake solves, including law enforcement Sergeant Holman, which further indicates potential corruption. Number 4, community perspectives and frustration. Disbelief in the official narrative. Many in the community seem to distrust official explanations of the case. One source states, quote, "You have to be able to conceive of things that would not be correct," close quotation. Troll farm and harassment. The community is also aware of troll farms and other internet harassers that aim to discredit or mislead those attempting to find answers about the case. A secret Discord where all the bullies are in collusion with each other. Harassment, doxing, stalking, and intimidation is just so hilarious, states one source. Desire for justice. There's a clear desire for justice, not just for Abby and Libby, but also to expose potential corruption. One source states, quote, "I want to tell them we did it. We collectively did it," speaking of wanting to share news of resolution with the victims' families. Mistrust of law enforcement. One source says about the police that, quote, "They're a compromised too. We know it. We've heard it from the horse's mouth both ways." A sense of knowing. Multiple sources mention a sense that the truth is widely known within the community, but is not being officially acknowledged. Quote, "We already kind of know what's going on around here, dude," says another one. Another asked, "Why would you do all that extra shit if you didn't have to? You gave the game away, so you're effed now. So like we're all going to sit here like the end of a movie, the thing where we're all sitting here at the end smoking a cigarette, burning shit around us. We're all going to burn till the end now, you know?" This illustrates a sense of collective understanding but powerlessness to change the outcome. Okay. All right. All right, keep in mind that was the introduction. Okay, so here we go with a detailed narrative style summary and critical analysis of the 52 Prof live streams. Okay, number 1, the central theories surrounding the Delphi murders. Several competing theories emerge from the sources. Remember, and when I say sources, I mean the past 52 live streams I put in the assistant. So several competing theories emerge from these sources regarding the circumstances surrounding the murders of Abby and Libby. These theories often involve local individuals, a potential cover-up, and a range of illicit activities. The Kokomo crew and methamphetamine involvement. A recurring theme is the involvement of a local group, often referred to as the Kokomo crew, in connection with a methamphetamine operation near the trails. Some suggest that the girls may have stumbled upon a meth lab, leading to their abduction and murder. Specific individuals, including Tyler Joe French, Megan Allen, Gabe Ellis, Garrett Kurtz, and Eric Williams, are named as potential members of this group. There's a suggestion that the girls may have been targeted after walking in on a meth lab being run by local cops and a criminal informant. There is a mention of a pickup guy named Travis Janicki, suggesting a level of organization in this alleged operation. The idea of meth cooks operating in a bucket is also brought up, indicating potential drug-related activity near the crime scene. Odinism and ritualistic elements. Some theories suggest the involvement of Odinists or individuals connected to the sons of Odin, potentially linking the murders to a ritualistic element. There is a reference to a ritual gone bad in a forest and to a situation involving animal sacrifice. A Purdue professor consulted with a Harvard professor and said that symbols found were runes and were cult related. It is noted that the state has challenged information on Odinism. Human trafficking. The case is linked to a broader narrative of human trafficking with claims that the girls were taken for the club and that the area is an infested area of human trafficking. There is a reference to Kash Patel draining a human trafficking swamp in Indiana. The bridge guy is a witness. Another theory suggests that the bridge guy, the individual seen in a video clip from Libby's phone, was not the killer, but someone who was present on the trails and came forward to law enforcement as a witness. This theory is based on the idea that law enforcement released two sketches from two witnesses, suggesting that Bridge Guy would have come forward if he had seen someone, or that if he saw someone, they likely also saw him. This theory includes a possibility of someone inserting themselves into the case, bearing a close resemblance to the new sketch. The involvement of law enforcement and the family. A major point of discussion is the alleged involvement of law enforcement and the family in a cover-up. It is suggested that some individuals in law enforcement, along with some of the family members of the girl's family, might have been involved in a conspiracy to obscure the truth of what happened. It's also suggested that there have been or has been a deliberate effort to protect the image of the Indiana State Police and the family. Some individuals believe that the family may have been trying to exploit people's feelings to an extreme by gaslighting and manipulating others' emotions. It is stated that the families have betrayed the children. Allegations of collusion and corruption. The sources outline numerous allegations of collusion and corruption involving law enforcement, the prosecutor's office, the judge's office, and various online personalities. Law enforcement misconduct and manipulation of evidence. There are claims that law enforcement did not properly investigate the scene and has intentionally covered up the truth. It's alleged that they did not do background checks on people who were helping the investigation. Some accuse law enforcement of being involved in a criminal enterprise. The idea that the crime scene photos were not investigated thoroughly is put forth. There are claims of leaks from law enforcement and the prosecutor's office. It is stated that some information about the crime scene and evidence has been obfuscated and that the police have been fabricating evidence. It's also alleged that they are trying to make the defendant guilty. It is claimed that the entire timeline is fraudulent. It is suggested that there was collusion between the state of Indiana and the judge's office with YouTubers to sway public opinion. There are also allegations that law enforcement has been involved in intimidating, threatening, and running people off the case. Jesus, I think this AI is fucking genius. I think this AI is a wonderful genius assistant. The claim is made that the police have been using media and individuals as mouthpieces. The role of the prosecutor's office. The prosecutor's office is accused of participating in the cover-up. It's claimed that they have been involved in the leaks. It is suggested that the prosecutor's office was involved in disseminating false information. There are accusations that they are trying to contaminate the jury pool. That is rich. That is rich. That is rich. The judge's office and interference. The judge's office is also implicated in the alleged conspiracy. It's claimed that employees in the judge's office are colluding with YouTubers. How genius is this app? There's an accusation that the judge did not want certain information to be made public, and she rejected some evidence and testimony. There is also mention of the judge's employees colluding with YouTubers to sway public opinion. The judge is accused of being mad, and there was the possibility of nullifying the jury. Manipulation of the jury. Some sources describe the possibility of the jury being manipulated. There are claims that the jurors wanted to review the Guys Down the Hill audio and compare it to Richard Allen's voice, but were not allowed to. The claim is made that an envelope was put under the jurors' room's doors with threats and instructions on how long to deliberate. I don't know where it got that from. I've never said that. I mean, geez. I mean, this is just fascinating. Leaking of information. There is a significant emphasis on the leaking of sensitive information related to the case. It is suggested that the leaks came from a variety of sources, including law enforcement, the prosecutor's office, David Erskine, and others. It is noted that a lot of people were disseminating the information and that people lied about it. Yes, this is the troll farm and the troll farm creators, who all were responsible for the leaks, who all leaked among themselves, spread the leaks, caused the nuclear disaster around the leaks, and then blamed Baldwin and Rozzi and got Fortson killed. It is mentioned that some of the leaks were deliberate and willful. Okay. Activities of the troll farm. A pervasive element throughout the sources is the presence and activity of a troll farm as a group of individuals accused of manipulating online discourse, disseminating information or disinformation, and harassing those who question the official narrative. Purpose and tactics. The troll farm is described as a tight-knit group of locals, many of whom are connected to the drug trade. Their primary objective is to silence critics, run people off the case, and harass, shame, and threaten those who speak out against the family or law enforcement. They are also accused of trying to control too much. They are said to create fake accounts to enter the online Delphi community and harass people. Wow. Well, let's read this again because this is rich. All right, I have to catch my bearings and I'll start over. The troll farm is described as a tight knit group of locals, many of whom are connected to the drug trade. Their primary objective is to silence critics, run people off the case, and harass, shame, and threaten those who speak out against the family or law enforcement. They are also accused of trying to control too much. They are said to create fake accounts to enter the online Delphi community and harass people. It is suggested they use gaslighting tactics to exploit people's feelings to an extreme. They are also accused of spreading lies and disinformation. It's suggested, I'm sorry, uh, they are said to be using talking points in order to produce a narrative. It's claimed that they are deliberately attempting to keep the truth tellers distracted, angry, and disheveled. Well, I mean, it sounds like this AI knows the troll farm better than they know themselves. Jeez, gee willikers. Connections and key members. Some sources name individuals that are possibly involved in the troll farm and have connections with law enforcement and the prosecutor's office and the girl's family. It's suggested that they're in direct communication with Becky Patty. The names of Jinx, Chris Long, and Frost are mentioned as potential leaders of the troll farm. Monica Walla is also identified as a potential member. It's mentioned that some of the members were present at a search in the case. Some of the people are said to be acting like agents. It's stated that they are attempting to control the narrative. Impact on the investigation and community. The troll farm is accused of significantly impacting the investigation by creating chaos, harassing individuals, and obscuring the truth. It's said that they've been trying to target others and get their IP addresses. Key individuals and their roles. Richard Allen. Richard Allen is the defendant in the case. Some sources believe he is being railroaded and that the state has not provided sufficient evidence to prove he is guilty. There are claims that the evidence against him is weak and circumstantial. It's suggested that he may have made false confessions. There's the possibility that he has been framed. It's also suggested that the state has maximum evidence to make him look guilty. Jerry Holman. Jerry Holman is a law enforcement officer whose conduct is heavily scrutinized. He is accused of interfering with the jury. He's also accused of not being thorough in his investigation. It's claimed that he formed connections in his mind that were not based on evidence. Some believe he may have been the source for information that has been leaked. Nick McClelland. McClelland is a prosecutor who is said to be part of the cover-up. It's claimed that he's colluding with other people to sway public opinion. He's also accused of lying in court. Some claim that he is part of the troll farm. I mean, I've never done. Is he pulling troll farm strings? Yeah. Okay, Mitchell Westerman. Westerman is an individual said to be involved in the leaking of photos. It's claimed that he took photos of stuff but didn't take the actual stuff. He is claimed to have been working without authority. He is alleged to have been connected with leaks to Andy, but there's no knowledge that he was behind it. Robert Fortson. Fortson is described as former military. There are claims that he was releasing information that was only privy to the defense. It's noted that Fortson did not identify Westerman as his source. Doug Carter. Carter is a high-ranking official. with the ISP who is alleged to have been colluding with the troll farm. It is stated that he was hanging out with some of the trolls and later bit the head off of one of the witnesses. Woo. Oh my gosh. I mean, how does this tool is drawing a lot of conclusions that I know for a fact were not directly stated, but are really poignant. Okay. Hi, ACV. This is 52 live streams. The 52 most recent live streams were fed into the AI assistant, and it was asked to generate a detailed narrative summary. And this is what we got. Okay. It stated that he was hanging out with some of the trolls. True. And allegedly bit the head off one of the witnesses. Yeah, that's Julie Melvin. He bit off Julie Melvin's head. I'll tell you about that later. Okay, Todd Rokita is the attorney general who received evidence of collusion but did not act on it. Yes, making him accountable for allowing the collusion to continue. Ooh, rough. That's rough. That's rough. Sorry, Todd. Fig Solves. Fig Solves is an online personality who is alleged to be involved with the leaks and who is said to have been working with law enforcement. It is claimed that they are working to protect sources and with law enforcement. They are also alleged to be a major leaker. Oof. Tyler Carpenter. Carpenter is said to have potentially funded some of the leaks. There were also allegations that he paid money to Mark Cohen. Mark Cohen. Cohen is mentioned as having disseminated some of the leaked information. Terry Williams. Miss Williams is a witness in the case who shared confidential information about the investigation. She is accused of being a source of leaks. Julie Melvin. Julie Melvin is said to have followed the case closely and received phone records from Miss Terry Williams. She is a witness. David Erskine. Erskine is mentioned as a potential source of some of the leaks. It's also stated that he said the girls were found between 9:45 and 10:30. Ooh, I had forgotten about all of that. I had forgotten that we did discuss that. That David Erskine told little Frankie, and I remember now playing that excerpt or reading from the transcript, that his statements to little Frankie were that those girls were found between 9:45 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. on the 14th. Okay. Cody Patty. Patty is said to have told his mother that the girls were found in the water and were taken to a cabin overnight. It is noted that the troll farm is in direct communication with the Pattys, specifically Becky. Snay. Snay is a person that was communicating with the group. It is stated that he was involved with the photos and possibly put the oval over a square on the redactions over the genitalia of one of the victims. Yes, that's true. Okay, that's true. I believe that Snay put the oval over the black square that was initially on it. Greg Ferenczi. Ferenczi was a special agent who was assassinated, suggesting his death was related to the case. Okay. The importance of digital evidence. Okay, here we go. Just a moment. The importance of digital evidence, number 5. Remember, this is the deep dive into our channel. The sources emphasize the significance of digital media, including cell phone data and the infamous video. Conflicting information about phones. The number of phones involved in the case is debated. With questions about whether there were 1, 2, or 3 phones. The claim is made that a family's phone dumps were not taken and that the phones were not tested. It is noted that the girls' phone records were recently obtained by the defense. Geofencing data. The geofencing data is presented as a key source of information. The analysis of cell phone movements in the area is noted as an important component of the investigation. It is claimed that there were 3 phones moving around in the area, not simply a person going to the bridge and leaving. The defense is seeking to obtain the names of those who interpreted the geofencing data. The Guys Down the Hill audio. The authenticity of the audio in the Guys Down the Hill video is questioned. It's alleged that the voice is not real. It's also noted that the jury was interested in comparing the voice on the audio to Richard Allen's voice. The Abby Snapchat photo. The authenticity of the Abby Snapchat photo is also questioned. It is noted that the FBI did not realize the photo was faked and staged. The photo is alleged to have been uploaded from the Farm Bureau building. The Bridge Guy video. There are allegations that the Bridge Guy video was uploaded from a location other than the actual crime scene. The use of technology for communication. Some theories include the possibility that the aux port on a phone could have been used to connect a device for difficult to trace communication or to transmit data, extract or wipe data, send a ransom, or similar. It's also noted that obscure communication technology may have existed in 2017. Well, this is another one that has me stumped. I don't remember any of those particular language points occurring on our channel, but possibly that was said in some of the reading that I did. But that's very interesting there. Let's reread that. I want everyone to focus on this particular point here while I reread it, please. Some theories include the possibility that the aux port on the phone could have been used to connect a device for difficult to trace communication or to transmit data, extract or wipe data, send a ransom, or similar. It's also noted that obscure communication technology may have existed in 2017. Wow, that's new to me. Okay, the narrative and discrepancies. Okay. The sources reveal discrepancies, significant discrepancies in the official narrative. 1, conflicting timelines. There is so much contradictory information regarding timelines. The time that the girls arrived at the trail, when they were seen, and when they were found are all disputed. Okay, that's 3 points. The time they arrived, when they were seen, and when they were found, all disputed. Okay, good information there. The narrative at the drop-off. Some allege that there is not a clear consensus about where and when the girls were dropped off by KG. The cover-up is a narrative. It is asserted that the cover-up itself is a story and is a fantasy world. Witness statements. There are claims that some witnesses gave false statements and that the police have not properly investigated all of the witnesses. There are claims that some of the witness statements are completely inconsistent with those provided by law enforcement. I tell you what, this is badass. This is badass right here. This is, you got to understand, when you're feeding this thing hundreds of thousands of words, it's going to put that information together in a way that it's difficult to do linearly. You understand what I mean? Go read or watch some videos on how the AI processes language to get its answers. This is interesting. Let's go back to that and reread it. Witness statements. There are claims that some of the witnesses gave false statements and that the police have not properly investigated all of the witnesses. There are claims that some of the witness statements are completely inconsistent with those provided by law enforcement. Role of online content creators. The sources explore the impact of online content creators and the media in the case. YouTubers and podcasters. There are claims that podcasters and YouTubers are involved in colluding with law enforcement. Some of these creators are said to be trying to sway public opinion. It is also said that some are trying to contaminate the jury pool. Dissemination of information. Some of the YouTubers and podcasters are accused of leaking information on the case or in the case. Wow. Manipulation of public opinion. There's a suggestion that the media is being manipulated in order to garner sympathy for Israel and in order to escalate protest. Well, hey, I guess that it glitches at times, but maybe I may have said something of that effect at some point. So maybe someone on the channel, maybe at some point that statement was made. So it included it in this bullet point. But isn't that funny? Search for truth. Okay. Despite the complex web, just a moment. Okay, despite the complex web of theories and allegations, there is a strong call for the truth about the Delphi murders to be revealed. The desire for the actual truth. There is an emphasis on the importance of finding out the truth of what happened to Abby and Libby and not be satisfied with the story that has been fabricated. The importance of critical thinking. There's a strong emphasis on questioning everything, trusting no one, and being skeptical of the official narrative. The desire for accountability. There's a desire for accountability of law enforcement, the prosecutor's office, and the judge's office, and all those who are believed to have been involved in the cover-up. The fight for justice. There are many that are fighting for justice for Abby and Libby. Additional points of concern. Okay, and this will close it out. Okay, the 136 pages, and that's the Frank's memorandum. That's the Frank's memorandum, okay? Some mention that the defense is stuck with the 136 pages and that there needs to be an effort to include more evidence and information in order to get to the truth. Yes, we need to be talking about the white supremacist domestic terrorist of Indiana, not the Odinist. And so I think that it's picking up here the fact that I've criticized the 136-page memorandum for solely focusing on the Odinist angle rather than the larger umbrella of the white supremacist domestic terrorist organization, of which Odinism is just a signature. Okay, the 2-pounder. The 2-pounder was a package of printed screenshots mailed to the Attorney General as proof of collusion. Yes. Yes, it was Todd Rokita. Yes, it was. And guess what? I've actually got the receipt. Okay, I've got the receipt for the 2-pounder. And it's like I said before, it's 1.7 pounds. Okay. The missing interviews. The loss of interviews from the first 70 days of the investigation is also noted as concerning. There is also concern about 70 days of interviews being deleted. The expungements. There is concern over expungements of information. Yes, there is, particularly Mitch Westerman. But we're also concerned about the destruction of court records in Indiana in general, because there are parties related to this case for which evidence has been destroyed by the court system. We're also particularly concerned about other expungements and the potential future expungements and dropping of charges against Shane Meehan. So yes, there are some concerns about the way things are handled. Okay, critical analysis. The sources, which means our live streams, paint a picture of a deeply flawed investigation and a community grappling with conflicting information. The allegations of collusion, corruption, and manipulation are serious and cannot be ignored. The activities of the troll farm further complicate matters by creating an environment of distrust and fear. The inconsistencies in the official narrative and the questions about the digital evidence raise significant doubts about the veracity of the case. The call for truth is persistent, highlighting the need for an independent investigation into the matter. The sources show a very complex and controversial case where individuals are fighting to uncover the truth about the deaths of Abby and Libby. There are many questions about the investigation and the actions of the individuals involved and the information that was presented to the public. The lack of transparency, the suppression of information, and the intense efforts to control the narrative are all cause for concern. These actions raise questions as to the true objectives of those in authority and their involvement in the case. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the brief uh, narrative summary of the recent work this channel has done. And I thank you all so much for being here to participate uh, and for having the patience to take that all in. And thank you, Kate Eleanor, for the super chat. So, like I said, I asked this assistant for a narrative summary of all of the 52 live streams, and that's some of what it pulled out. And I'm interested in that. Uh, it's a lot. It's a lot. Now, as I mentioned, I think what we need to be concerned with at this point is information for the newcomer, okay? Because you guys have to understand that although you have been engaged for a year, 2 years, 5 years, or nearly 8 years, what you have to understand is there are a lot of people coming new into this information who need the short story in a digestible format very quickly. Okay, they don't have the 7 years to invest. So I've been looking at assistants or tools to assist me in summarizing and presenting information in a more digestible and understandable format that gets right to the heart of the matter quickly, so that the newcomer can get the pertinent points and then he decide to stay and take in more or to move on. Okay, so that's what that is. That's what that is. And so it's stuff like this. Now, it's interesting because I mentioned how these troll farm creators right now, why are they doubling down? Notice what happened. Okay, they all went to the press conference. By they all, I mean you know who I'm talking about: Doug Carter, Jerry Holman, Nick McLean. They all went to the press conference and doubled down. Okay. Now you've seen that there's been a large amount of criticism about the lack of transparency on this case. Correct. So what happened? So they sent Jerry Holman out to make the podcast rounds with friendly podcasters, with law enforcement friendly podcasters, to uh, to attempt to convey that he is providing transparency. Okay. For instance, let me say something. I don't want to get it wrong. So the sensation right now, okay, the sensation right now is the interview with Hidden True Crime, which oddly enough, you can't make this shit up, is called Transparency Matters. Now, do you think that's a mistake? Do you think it's a coincidence that they decided to name that live stream or that interview Transparency Matters? There's no mistake there. There's no coincidence there. It's not a fluke that they decided to title that interview Transparency Matters. Okay. It's a gaslight. It's a slap in the face, and it's an attempt to salvage or to quash criticism. Okay. Because right now, what's the major criticism? That there's been zero transparency. Okay. The public is killing the ISP and the court right now because of the lack of transparency, which could even better be said, the wall of secrecy that's been built around this case. Remember, it's been secrecy in this case since before day one. The law enforcement has been incredibly secretive this whole time. The entire court proceeding was anything but transparent. And like I mentioned, even right now, with zero transcripts, zero evidence released, there's still zero transparency. And realize that they have put Richard Allen back into Westville. Okay. So keep in mind the absolute lack of transparency. So I find it incredibly insulting that they would title that interview Transparency Matters with Lieutenant Jerry Holman. It's a slap in the face to everyone. And I think anyone with discernment can see that and realize it. But he's making the podcast rounds to try to save face or try to salvage some credibility because of the intense criticism that the Indiana State Police is receiving at this point from the public because of the odd nature of that press conference, and B, uh, the fact that there was no recording. We had to rely on inconsistent witness uh, testimony from people who could go in there and observe the trial and take notes, each with their own biases, their own perspectives. We don't really know what happened in the courtroom. Okay. We don't have transcripts. Why? Listen, why is the public not owed a complete transcript of the entire trial free of charge in lieu of cameras in the courtroom? Additionally, why has not one piece of admitted evidence in this trial been released into the public sphere yet? Are we supposed to believe that the press corps, that limited number of people with the press who was there each day for trial, that them laying their eyes on the so-called evidence, that's supposed to be sufficient for disclosing the evidence of the trial to the general public? So, thank you, Pertinent. That press conference was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, and I watched a lot of press conferences. It was an absolute travesty. Yes, yes. It I we'll be talking about it more. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. The reason that the command center and fake YouTube channels was set up was also to steer everyone away from the truth and inserting absolute BS to confuse everyone. Yep. And like I said, think about it. Think about how long it's been 7.5 years in the double murder of two little kids. Okay. Since when does the murders or do the murders of two little kids warrant all that's happened as a result in this Delphi case? The creation of the standing up and creating of entire propaganda outlets, YouTube channels. When is that warranted in the double murder of two little kids? And like I said, why are they going so hard right now? Okay, why are they doing that? I mean, let me I want to say this. I just want to get it right. Okay. So why is sleuth intuition calling you all dark-hearted? Okay, like you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Okay. Oh, there it is. Delphi murders. Richard Allen, a hero to the dark-hearted. Uh, a hero to the dark-hearted. So are you saying that all of us out here have made him a hero because he killed, we believe he's a murderer of two little girls? I mean, dude, it's like, do you really think that we all believe he's guilty of killing these two children? Therefore, he's a hero to the dark-hearted. Really? I think that's pretty fucking insane. Okay. I think that like you're seriously fucking a sick individual. Okay. You want to know another sick one? Here's another sick one. To all the scarecrows who believe that the 60 plus confessions that RA made are false confessions, one of you scarecrows, please find me one case in the American judicial system where an individual confessed 60 plus times and were found to be false. I'll wait. Actually, I won't. You won't find one case where this happened. I've done my legwork. Okay. All right. All right. So, so you mean, okay, so you mean the two confessions, because remember, only two of those were used in the court room. So you mean two confessions. The fact that it's 60 plus was an assertion that was made by Brian Harshman. It was not a reality. Do you understand that? Because remember, I did an entire episode called The Confessions. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put it here now for all of our wonderful people to go in and be able to watch after this. What's up, T Bone? Thank you for the super chat. Uh, let me do this because some of you may have missed this, but this was an important one I did. Okay, share, copy. Here we go. Let's see if I can give this to you. See this one here? Please go save that for watch later. Okay, go watch later. That one is called The Confessions. Okay, please go watch it later. Save it to watch later. Because in there, I specifically go through Brian Harshman's testimony and I reveal how much feeling was involved in this. Okay, so he claims that because he got to know Richard Allen's voice, that he could tell when he was saying things that were similar or akin to confessions. Okay, so this whole assertion that there were 60 plus confessions, it's a total fucking lie. Okay, so for any of you repeating that, like Frank Shyster, there's not there's not 60 plus confessions. Okay, so if you want to understand how I proved that, go and watch the video I just pasted there. Okay, you'll clearly see that there's not 60 plus confessions. You understand? Um, anyway, and don't forget that for the confessions that do exist, he was absolutely factually in the middle of a psychotic episode, which some of you obviously have never been in, because if you had ever been in a psychotic episode, you would know that reality is not reality anymore. Your reality when you're undergoing a psychotic episode is disjointed from our consensus reality out here in the world. So don't even hit me with the that he factually confessed. Okay. All right. So let me get back to the chat because I'm getting a little aggravated. Okay. So make no mistakes, the cops know exactly what they've covered up. Yep. Of course they do. They were complicit. They were complicit. All right. I think we'd rather have the free audio that has already been recorded. Yeah, yeah. Of course we would. Of course we would. But transparency is not going to happen. That's why it's so insulting that they would title that show "Transparency Matters," and that's where Holman comes and gaslights and lies. For instance, Holman said he never, not even once, thought that there were any sort of non secular or occult signatures or anything like that. Let me ask you this. Like he specifically said he thought that there were just sticks thrown on the bodies. And let me ask you this. What did Robert Ives say about that? What did Robert Ives say about non-secular signatures at the crime scene? Sounds like Abby, Libby, and maybe the F on the tree, or the mark on the tree, or maybe the rune that was identical to the one on Abby that was also over a pool of blood. That's a bind rune, and there's no question about it whatsoever. Okay, there's no question about it whatsoever. Now, the real question is, are those runes specifically placed there intentionally by the perpetrators as part of some sort of ritual, or are the runes placed there as part of the staging to set up Brad Holder? That's the real question. That's the question people should be asking. Not are they not runes or not. The question is not whether they are or not runes. They are clearly bind runes, or an attempt at bind runes. Okay, that's what's clear. The real question is the motive. Are they bind runes that are put there authentically by the perpetrator as part of some sort of ritual? Or conversely, are they part of some sort of staging setup on someone like Brad Holder, who was known to do that sort of thing? That's the real fucking question. But they'll gaslight, and Holman will get up there and say that he never thought they were anything in the first place. He just thought there were sticks thrown on the bodies, which is a troll farm talking point, ignoring the fact that the prosecutor, Robert Ives, says very specifically that there were non-secular signatures at the crime scene, 3 at least. You understand what I'm getting at? All right. So I think I've made my points with you all. I appreciate you being here. I wasn't so happy about being. Listen, here's the thing I want to say. If you don't have anything nice to say, just don't come here. Just leave. Just leave. The last thing I ever want to hear is that you don't like AI as a tool. Because guess what? I don't either. I don't like it used in the wrong way, which is how the troll farm was using it. So all of these years, the troll farm's been using AI for nefarious purposes. Okay. I'm using AI as a tool to assist for positive reasons, for good reason. So can you just fucking shut up if you don't like it and grin and bear it and understand that I'm trying my best to do and use all tools I have at my disposal. So if you don't like the AI, just shut up about it. Just let me use it and ignore it or go somewhere else until we get to a point where I'm not using it, because it's not 100% of the time. I use it 1% of the time, and I got to hear grief over it. Anyway, sorry. Okay. Thank you, Jake Brooks, for gifting our wonderful viewers here. All right. All right. So, what else we got here? All right, so let me continue. Let's see. Douche crew, what up? What up? Please go. Here's a reason I never liked that motherfucker. Because the very first time I mentioned the family as potentially not being completely honest or transparent, he sent the troll farm after me. Okay, I have all the receipts for it. Why don't you go troll Prof? Make some fake accounts and troll Prof. Run him away. Run him off the case. Douche crew. All right. See what else we got here in the chat before I call it a night. I only hope the FBI and other federal agencies are still looking into all of this. I can't imagine that they wouldn't want to get down to the truth after Greg Ferenczi's murder. Of course. The only things those confessions documented is his descent into madness. And listen, I've said so many times, so many times, I don't know about Richard Allen's role or lack thereof in this murder. I have no clue about it. But I do know this: there's been zero convincing evidence presented of his role in this murder, which is what we're supposed to be looking for. And you tell me, how did the jury get to the point or that threshold of beyond a reasonable doubt? It's absolutely nonsensical that jury would be convinced and or put beyond a reasonable doubt that there was evidence of Richard Allen's role in this. How? How? Yeah, if you think he's guilty by the evidence presented, you should probably seek a fucking therapist. Okay. Troll Farm believes police corruption and wrongful convictions plus millions paid out nationwide never happens. There's never been a corrupt police officer ever. These guys just didn't beat this guy to death in New York. That never happens. But bad police never, ever, ever happened. Zero times any police has ever been corrupt. Zero wrongful convictions. Never have been a wrongful convictions. Never has been a cover up ever in the history of the world. The mob never had the police working for them. Organized crime never had control of law enforcement ever, and absolutely not the white supremacist domestic terrorists of Indiana do not have control or work with the state police of Indiana. Nope, it totally impossible. I'm still confused on found in the water versus not found in the water. Yeah, I don't. All right. I've seen psychosis and we don't allow them to make medical decisions, but these confessions are legit. Give me an effing break. What's up, Tiri? What's up, Tammy? What's up, Don't Dox Me? What's up, Crazy Girl 1203, Golden, Saluthy Goosey, everyone who's come in. Appreciate you for coming in. Pink Quartz 1111. Everyone who's come in, thank you so much for coming from the chat. And by the way, if you're in that chat, come on in. But also, if you're on the replay, leave comments down below, okay? Leave comments down below on the replay. Please do that. The comments are so awesome, and we need your comments. So please leave comments. All right. So yeah, I have so much backed up for the community page. You guys don't understand how busy I get, but here's a little teaser. I do have so much information backed up for the community page that I just haven't gotten to yet. Uh, Sometimes it takes me an hour to make a community post because I have to go and I have to find the stuff and I have to crop it and I have to put the little red boxes if I'm going to do that. And it takes me time to post on the community page, but I have several handfuls of community of items for the community page. So please give me some time, and I have some good stuff for the community page. All right, all right. So what do we got here? Yeah, and gangs don't run prisons. Yeah, let me break it down for you real easy. This is fucking easy. Gangs run prisons. The prisons are racially segregated. So all the white people become the gang. Who do you think runs the gangs or runs the prisons in Indiana? It's the fucking white supremacists. If we're saying they are the ones who killed Abby and Libby, is it that hard to understand? It's the criminal element of society, the criminal underworld. It's not complicated. It's you have to remove all the Odin shit from your brain. It's ridiculous to it clouds the thinking. Okay, it's the white supremacist domestic terrorists who also run the prisons. They run the entire criminal underworld, and yes, that's what happened with Abby and Libby. Somehow, okay. Thank you, ACV. Thank you very much, and Jake Brooks. Thank you for the memberships for our members, our channel members. Okay. Boom, there you go. Jake Brooks gifted 5 memberships to our wonderful viewers. Thank you very much, Jake Brooks. Let's see who got them. Can I even see that? No. Pink Quartz, Mama Bear 2222, Who's Your Chick, Harry Potter's Beard, and Jen P. Okay. If we could only get Rob Ives and Mike Thomas to speak now, it's too bad their balls are so small. Why is everyone afraid of the white supremacist domestic terrorists of Indiana? Come on now. Kokomo Crew's just a small part. Vinlanders are just a small part. The Odiners are just a small part. You gotta get your mind right. Okay. All right. All right, guys. I'm getting tired here. The AI podcast was exactly what people needed to hear so they don't think someone is being impartial. No, but that's the problem. People bitched and bitched and bitched about the AI podcast because it wasn't me. It's like, can I try something different and maybe make something deliverable in a way that other people can take it in? But I guess not. Okay. Can we get Ives, Diener, Thomas interview? Thank you, 43 Goblin. Thank you. All right. Sleuthy weirdos. Well, I don't know who the weirdos are, but they're all weirdos. So. Any thoughts on Norfleet and Flint Farmer trials? Can't wait, but I couldn't wait for Greg Ferenczi either. Look what happened there. I was elated that Westerman was going to trial. I was elated that Ferenczi was going to trial. Not Ferenczi, Meehan. Sorry. I was elated that Westerman was going to trial. I was elated that Meehan was going to trial. I was elated that Norfleet and Farmer Who knows? All right. Okay. The bobblehead dolls. Yeah, all of douche crew's thumbnails look like bobbleheads. Bobblehead Richard Allen's. Is that's what you got to do to make Richard Allen guilty? Is you got to put a bobblehead head cut out on some small body. That's how you make Richard Allen guilty. Is you put him in precarious positions with cut and paste. All right. Okay. Let's see. Every day a prisoner dies in prisons at the hands of those said to protect. Yeah, and I've said that before. This is why I don't agree with the whole let him die. When you're sentenced to serve time, I mean, this is not a difficult concept, but it is for retards. When you're sentenced to serve time for your crimes, what is your sentence? Is it to be beat, killed, harassed, abused, neglected, malnourished, tortured? No. Your punishment is the time, Time. That's what you're serving. You're punished with your time being taken. I don't see what's so hard to figure out about that with people. Time. You give your time. That's your punishment, your time. All right. Thank you, ACV. All right. I mean, just a moment, please. All right. So I think I'm done here. Let me see. I'm trying to get everyone here. All right, what's up, Candy M, Wendy DB, everyone in come who came in late? What's up to you? Okay, I'm ready to get out of here. I'm tired. Um, but that's all I got. I mean, it's it's a nice show. Listen, I have big plans for the next couple shows, but it's been, you know how working with people is difficult to get everyone's schedules aligned and everything. So tonight's show, it was supposed to be something else, but we weren't able to align our schedules. But hopefully tomorrow we'll have the show that I planned for tonight. So that should also be great. So appreciate all of you for being here, and hopefully you enjoy the new show, the New Year show. Yeah. Thank you, Dan Jones. Thank you, Indy Cindy. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate you. Teresa. Thank you, Teresa. Right. Thank you, Clarice. Thank you for the super chat, Clarice. I'm with you all the way, Lurker Inc. Thank you, Heather Brown. Yes, I'm very tired, very tired. But we got two here. Here's the thing: we've got the end of the year show, and we got the beginning of the year, the New Year show. So that two really good shows lined up. So that's what I'm getting at. We got two shows lined up with guests. So end of the year and New Year. So hopefully both of those work out because I can't wait to present them for you. And I think you enjoy conversations with the guests. And anyhow, I want to thank everyone who's been here. Special thanks again to those supporters on the channel: 26 Dead Zombies Silenced, Indy Cindy, Kate Eleanor, T Bone, Jake Brooks, ACV, and Clarice. Thank you so much for the support. And also, someone sent me a Cash App. Let me thank her. Who was that? Wendy. Okay, Wendy. Thanks for the Cash App, Wendy. And thanks everyone. And if you're on the replay, please support the channel and leave a comment down below. Please, please. You missed the live chat, but you still got the comment section. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just very tired. I apologize that I'm tired. Normally I would go longer, but I am honestly tired tonight. So thanks to everyone. Jackie Blue, thank you. Been listening to past streams all week and learned a lot. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone. Kate, you, thank you. Okay. Yeah, so we'll do a New Year and an end of the year. So that'll be two nice shows. So I'm waiting on my guests to be able to link up with me, and that'll be nice. Okay, what's up, Interspace? Pardon, Interspace. Greetings from Bondi Beach. Bully, look at the triangle theory. Okay. All right, y'all. So good night to you. Special thanks to those good YouTubers out there. I know I'm always complaining about the troll farm, but everyone who's doing good work out there, shout out to you too. Thank you out there for doing great work. Especially, I gotta admit, every morning I love waking up, getting a coffee, and listening to Rafi rant for 15 minutes or 12. So if you don't go listen to Rafi in the mornings, go listen to Rafi in the mornings. Okay, he does some nice short 10-15 minute rants. I love listening to Rafi in the morning. So that's my personal thing. Okay, my confession. So, yeah, God bless you all. Kayla, thank you, Kayla, for the. Hey, I gotta say, I had two friends. Fuck it, I'll talk. I'll say it. Kayla and Four Pits sent my little prof some Christmas gifts. Okay, so Four Pits, thank you very much. Prof loves them, and Kayla, thank you very much. Me and Prof love it, and we've enjoyed the Christmas gifts so much because it's great that my little guy knows that I have friends that I commit this time all the time to do these shows. He knows that I do them, and he's touched by getting gifts from some of you he hasn't met yet, and that's Uncle Josh and Miss Kayla. So thank you very much for the gifts. Anyway, God bless you guys, and Happy New Year. We'll have a Happy New Year soon, so that'll be nice, right? Yeah, yeah. Kayla and Four Pits. Yeah. So anyway, God bless you all. I'm going hug little prof, spend time with them, watch some TV. Okay. Anyway, give yourselves some rest as well, because I know we're all tired and we all do too much. Uh, but we have 2025 coming next. We have a new year coming, and I've got to tell you, we'll be doing some changes. So look out for some changes. Okay. I got changes in mind for 2025, starting right away in 2025. So there'll be some changes, but it'll be good changes. Okay. So that's all it is. So watch some replays, enjoy, spend some time with your family, do what you got to do. God bless you guys. All right. I'm out of here. And like I said, hug your kids, hug your wife. If you're in Delphi, hide them. This fucking white supremacist, domestic terrorist freaks and trolls everywhere. Night, night.